Eastern Europe, Western Europe, and because 30% of all universities, most of the universities, if not all, in the United States, they prefer multiracial student enrollments. And then you have to stay in dorms, and anyway, like everybody shares the dorm. Nobody is going to afford a single room there. So you have to adjust yourself. Then you're going to meet eclectic friends, and these networks, this particular network is going to be enduring and long-lasting till we breathe our last. Trust me. And then a long-lasting network of friends across the globe, as I already told you. Network related to market economics, networks related to entrepreneurship, networks related to business and trade, that is different from friendships. Friendship is something, like divine. It is going to be, like you are going to keep that stuff very, cozy under your heart. So even that you can develop across the globe, friends from across the globe. I'll give you one typical example. One of my cousins, he stayed in England for 12 years. Of course, he's back home, that's a different thing. But he has friends from subcontinent. Generally, we have a perception that Pakistan, our neighboring country, it's a troublemaker, it always troubles us. But his close friends, couple of them are from Pakistan. Average Pakistani does not have any antagonism towards India. This is a false notion. Everybody thinks that every typical Pakistani hates India. It's wrong. And his friends, they attended his wedding just 4 years ago. Trust me. Next slide, please. And this is the most important point. You learn to become self-reliant. Generally, right from childhood to even after graduation and post-graduation, we have a habit of counting on our parents for everything. We don't know what self-reliance is. That's not our fault, because that system, that culture and tradition of ours compelled us to, accept a life of that sort. But here, if you go abroad in pursuing higher education, you're going to be self-reliant there. Any problem, any illness, any financial, trouble, you have to handle yourself, because you can't think of bothering your parents. You learn to cope with the problems and overcome them. That's one of the things. Even, it's going to be adventurous also sometimes. Sometimes you may bump into, somebody, who is a thug with a weapon, and you use your logical thinking skills and try to escape from the situation. So that's one of the things you're going to learn, and that's what self-reliance is all about. And then you become nostalgic and patriotic. And I have seen most of the NRIs, they are patriotic and they feel homesick, and they are the cultural guardians of this country. And most NRI children, they teach, parents, they teach their children music, dance forms of our tradition, our culture. They celebrate festivals with more fun and gaiety. And how they are patriotic, 15 to 20 billion dollars of investment in FIIs are from NRIs. They are showing their patriotism on those lines. They invest here and they create indirectly job opportunities to us, and they make India a better place to live in. And this point is also very important. If you go and live in any Western city or Western culture, let that be America, England, or Western Europe, or Australasia, or even New Zealand, your behavior totally changes. Let me tell you typical annoying behaviors of our citizens. Not all, a few at least. Even to this day, they spit randomly on roads, they talk loudly over phone, they misbehave with females, they don't respect elders. These sort of things, even if we don't do, we realize that this is bad. So this is what I'm talking about. Behavior and demeanor going to be enhanced. And then it's passed post to affluence. Affluence is nothing but wealth. Most of the NRIs, most of Indian diaspora, overseas diaspora, they are filthy rich. An average Indian American is richer than an average Native American. White American. That is already proven. You take, like Hindujas, you take Satyanadellas, you take Sundar Pichais, Indira Nuis, anybody. They are the people, who are related to that level, affluence and luxurious life. More Indian Americans live than an average white American. That's the proven fact. And GRE and IELTS, is a threshold to overseas education. It is mandatory anyway. We all know that. Next slide, please. And these are the areas where you have to be mastering if you want to crack these two exams, especially GRE. You have to undergo reading comprehension passages. You have to read them and understand. Text completion and sentence equivalence sections demand you to learn vocabulary. And then these are the areas in quantitative reasoning, arithmetic, algebra, geometry, and data analysis will give you enough mental stimulation and problem solving skills. And then the analytical writing assessment compels you to write essays. You need to type them in stipulated time frame, under duress. So that's quite an opportunity. Okay, next slide please. Next, in GRE writing section, you should know the grammar. How grammar is useful? Grammar is going to enhance your job prospects. Anybody who has good grammar skills is going to excel in any exam. He's going to excel in interview facing skills. He's going to excel in group discussions. So people who speak English accurately with maintaining the grammatical standards and who have good command of language, and a guy who cannot speak English and he makes so many grammatical bloopers, the recruiter obviously chooses the one who is more accurate grammatically. You know that. And then every competitive exam of India tests grammar skills. Either sentence correction or identifying errors. You name the exam, you have that section. And it also improves your business. If anybody in this crowd is zealous to become an entrepreneur, you need to have good grammar skills to draft memos, memorandum of understandings. You need to write reports, emails. Grammar mistakes you should avoid. And then it also boosts your productivity. Let me give you a few examples how good grammatical skills and vocabulary elevated people to a level where they become global corporate leaders. Take for example Satya Nadella. He studied right in our backyard in Hyderabad Public School. Look at our own beloved IT Minister KTR, and take even the ex-politician Jayaprakash Narayan. He speaks and writes English which is immaculate. So all these gentlemen, they excelled in life because they have good grammar skills and they have good vocabulary. And next is it can also prevent lawsuits. Tomorrow, if you draft something which is, unpalatable to your client or ally, and then he takes it to the corridor of courts and he may trouble you. But if you have good grammar, you can avoid it. And it also obviously elevates your self-esteem. Next slide, please. And then vocabulary, how it helps to interpret things accurately. 8 out of 10 college students, unfortunately, in South India, they don't have good vocabulary. The reason why they don't have good vocabulary means it's not their fault. It is because the system did not tell them the importance of vocabulary. Everybody thinks that vocabulary means only GRE, IELTS. If you have plans to go abroad, then only we have to buy hard. It's not true. Because one of the fallacious things is we folks do not have even the habit of reading newspapers and editorials, articles, magazines. That's also one of the, and why we don't read this, it's a circular reasoning. It's like, which is first, is egg or hen? It's like, I don't have good vocabulary, that's the reason I can't understand what is there in the editorial, that's the reason I don't read newspapers. Okay, I don't read newspapers because I don't have good vocabulary. So you keep on blaming, either of the things. But if you have, good vocabulary, you can interpret things accurately. And then take somebody who claims that he's a good, well-educated person, but he doesn't have vocabulary. He's going to be very fatuous and idiotic in front of the crowd. And a guy who is not that educated, but he has good vocabulary, who's going to impress the crowd? I don't have to tell you. Okay, so vocabulary also, makes you sound good, well-educated, even if you are not. So just imagine, with education, if you have good vocabulary, sky is the limit for you. And then you're going to be more articulate, more eloquent, more lucid and more clear. whatever you say, if you have good vocabulary, you're going to have that convincing skills, the persuasive skills, if you have good vocabulary. And you are going to communicate more effectively if you have good vocabulary. And it improves your self-confidence. You no longer have to be a diffident. It certainly improves your self-confidence levels. You no longer, like deterred to face interviews. You're no longer deterred to, like address the crowd. You're going to be more confident. And then it also improves people's perception of life. Because people who have good vocabulary, they cultivate reading habit, and they are the people who are going to involve in introspection. They pose a question for themselves because of that wisdom what they gain from reading habit. They're going to ask themselves what is the purpose of this life, and they start setting goals, and then they work hard and achieve them. That's what the meaning of this point is. Improves people's perception of life. And then anyway, I don't have to tell you this, better job offers. Every competitive exam, every campus recruitment aptitude test asks you synonyms and antonyms and analogies. Trust me, you go through any competitive exam, right from bank POs to SSC to every exam has vocabulary section. Next slide, please. Okay, and reading, how it helps. The difference between Indian graduates and Western graduates is, on average, by the time they are done with their higher education, a typical Western graduate reads no more than 500 books, which is, in addition to the curriculum related stuff. 500 books of fiction and both non-fiction genre. So you just imagine where every typical American and English and German or Japanese family has library in their houses. We don't have that. That's unfortunate. That's again, I don't blame. I'm not here to blame, involve in blame game.